Everyone，大家晚上好。There's some noise here. Sorry. So last week we finished the forum. So now we're back to our regular Sunday evening lecture series. 上礼拜天我们那个研讨会刚结束，所以从今天开始，我们就恢复到一般的星期天晚上的专题演讲系列。那今天是我们是每个月的关于这个新冠肺炎疫情的最新发展的报告。那今天是留到是王文斌医师。So today actually happened to be our monthly update on the COVID pandemic, and today is Dr. Henbin Wang going to share with us. I think probably most people are familiar with Dr. Wang, so I'm not going to spend much time talking about that. Anyway, he's a local doctor here at Ukiah, and he has been with us for many years. 我想大家对王医师也不陌生，所以我就不多谈。他是我们这个尤其是这边的，尤其镇这边的这个医院的职业医师，已经在这边好几年了。他全家都是从明尼苏达搬过来。So I will let Dr. Wang start the talk. 那韩冰你就可以开始，你就 share 你的 screen。OK。
Okay, thank you, Dr. Master. How do I do it? I need to find that. Somehow I got stuck on the screen.
你那个
Okay, got it.
你要按 share screen 吗？
I got it.
有。
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's my turn again to give everybody an update on COVID-19. And last time I gave the update was 2 months ago. Finally, we have vaccine, actually not one, but two. So today's talk, I'm going to focus the most on the vaccine updates, especially efficacy and safety that I have had many questions posed to me in the last week or two. 大家晚上好，又轮到我横滨给大家介绍这个新冠的疫情的进展，包括治疗啊一些的。上一次跟大家谈是将近2个月之前了。在这2个月之内呢，发生了很多的这个进展，但主要呢是这个疫苗的出现和美国药监局的这个批准。不光是一个，在这个过去的10天之内，我们已经有2个疫苗得到批准。那今天呢，主要时间来花在介绍这个疫苗。当然，我还是从我一般的格式出发。最近1、2礼拜我也收到很多的问题，关于疫苗的这个安全性什么的，今天也会尽量讲解。So I'm starting from again the same format to have a capture of what's going on right now with a COVID situation. Currently, this is data from yesterday. Currently, we have more than 75 million COVID infections globally, resulting deaths of close to 1.7 million. In US, we have almost 17.5 million infected individuals, including more than 300,000 of deaths. And again, US is leading globally regarding the case and mortality, followed by India and Brazil and other countries which are listed here. 那首先呢，我还是给大家来一个那个总体的世界范围内的新冠的疫情的现状。 世界来讲，一共大概有7500万人感染，超过7500万人感染，超过160万的死亡人数。美国呢还是领先全球，大概有1700万，30多万病人不幸死亡。右边的那个主要就是看到各个国家的这个趋势。美国第一，接下来是印度还有巴西。This is the same curve I showed every single time, and I have one more curve after this. Basically, this shows the trend of the new cases. This is a 7-day moving average. You can see the green represents the United States. We're still on the ascending phase as of now. Many other countries are also following the trend, although the trend is not as abrupt as US. And luckily, India has seen great reduction of COVID cases. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised about this. Last month, they had their biggest, I think their biggest festival, Diwali, was in mid-November. Their important festival, and it didn't result in a significant case spike. 那这个呢，还是全世界的疫情的这个趋势图。绿色的曲线代表是美国。很不幸，我们还在这个上升区间。这个上升区间什么时候结束还未知。其他国家呢也都有相应的上升，包括欧洲的一些国家。蓝色的线代表的是印度。很高兴的是，这个印度的这个疫情得到了有效的控制。尤其是上个月他们有一个比较重大的节日叫 Diwali， 好像并没有对它这个整个病例的这个情况产生特殊的影响。So this is unfortunately what's going on now in the United States. On the left-hand side is a picture, a graph I showed 2 months ago in October, and the right side is what is now. Unfortunately, we only saw a little bit of here, and we're actually quite significantly worse than what it was 2 months ago. I initially anticipated this will peak maybe slightly more and it's going to plateau and drop. And unfortunately, we took a big lip up here, and there's doesn't seem to be ending here or plateau here with upcoming Thanksgiving and New Year. I think it's probably most people think it's from Thanksgiving gathering, which I agree. 那这个很不幸的是美国的这个病例的现状。左边这个呢是我2个月前介绍的。3、4月份有一个第一波，7、8月份第2波。我想这个年底第3波，11月、12月、1月，没想到这一波这个趋势非常猛，到现在都没有看到这个峰值在哪里。很不幸，我们还有这个圣诞节和新年，但这个估计这个病例的个数还会产生巨大的这个增幅。那这个大家都认为这个感恩节的这个将近1亿人的这个居家聚会啊，然后旅行就跟中国的过年一样产生了一个很巨大的这个影响。So California still leading the entire country on the total cases and fatality. There's now more than 17 million positive cases and more than 22,000 total deaths. And I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, we had almost over 40,000 new cases, which is very unfortunate. 那这个是加州的现状。加州呢也是领跑美国，包括这个总体的病例数和这个死亡数。那最近呢，这个每天的这个最近前几天的每天的感染率超过了将近4万，那死亡人数呢也将近超过每天大概300例。So this is Mendocino County that I'm living in, most of and also where CTP is. 2 months ago, when I gave the update, there were about 1,200 new cases, total cases. I'm sorry. As of now, we have had about 1,800, and 2 months ago we had about 21 deaths, and now we have 25 deaths related to COVID. So a lot of jump on the cases, but fortunately, we only lost 4 patients. We're still in the tier 1. This data was generated last week. We only had 3 patients in 3 hospitals in the county in ICU and 5 in regular ward again in three hospitals in the county. 那这个是门多西诺县啊，就是我所居住的这个县，还有这个万佛城的所在地。2个月前，我做这个更新的时候呢，大概是1100人，还是1200的总病例数。那现在已经涨到了1800。2个月前大概已经死掉了大概21位病人，那现在是25，还好只有4位4位病人不幸这个死亡。总体来讲呢，这个门多西诺县比起加州的其他的这个郡县还是要好得多。And the county south of us, many of you heard from the news, such as LA, they pretty much ran out of ICU beds. So many patients, even a regular room, so many patients actually have to stay in the hallways and receiving the care. They just don't have any ICU bed. But in Ukiah, our capacity of ICU is much better than the average. We have somewhere between 20 to 30% capacity on average. 那这个大家也听说了，这个南加的这个情况现在很严重，基本医院里的这个像比如说洛杉矶医院的这个重症监护的病房已经是全部爆满，没有任何时间都没有这个空床。这个我们门多西诺县还稍微好一些，但也是总体情况也是不乐观，大概有20%到3%的空床。总体来讲，现在在医院的住院的大概有5位病人我们这个县大概有3个医院5位病人有3位病人是在这个重症监护。So mostly I want to talk about update on the vaccine. As I mentioned earlier, now we have 2 vaccines approved. Both are mRNA, messenger RNA based vaccines. So just to refresh memory, so this picture I think in different format I shared, and also Dr. Cunling Wang also shared how messenger RNA vaccine works. But just to give a recap, so both technologies are very similar. So messenger RNA is a genetic sequence that our cell used to produce the protein. And as you recall, COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus is comprised of 25 proteins. One of the most important proteins is spike protein that attach the human cells lock into a receptor called ACE2. 那大家这个图应该比较熟悉了我以前还有这个王春林博士以前也介绍过，这个信使 RNA 也叫这个 messenger RNA。那 messenger RNA 在人体中呢，主要是用来这个供细胞里的一些细胞器来翻译成这个蛋白的。大家知道这个这个新冠病毒呢由25个蛋白构成，其中一个很重要的蛋白叫棘蛋白，叫 spike protein。那这个棘蛋白是存在在这个 virus 这个病毒的外边，用来这个吸附到我们的宿主我们的人体的细胞上。So the Moderna and BioNTech, Pfizer use the sequence that used to translate to spike protein, and it uses sequence of mRNA and is encapsulated in a lipid nanoparticle. So basically, a little analogy would be a little butter droplet that contains the mRNA. So once this mRNA droplet, a lipid droplet, is injected into our muscle cells, and the lipid nanoparticle will diffuse or penetrate into our cells because our cell membrane is hydrophobic. So the RNA is subsequently released, and using our own ribosome is where the protein is produced, or the factory for the protein. Using ribosome, the messenger RNA that encodes spike protein is transcribed, and the protein is produced by by ribosome and some other cell organs, then those spike protein will be exposed either mostly outside the cells and being recognized by our immune system as an enemy. Therefore, two immune responses are generated, namely antibody-mediated and cell-mediated. 那这个由这个脂肪，就是脂肪小颗粒包装的信使 RNA 呢，通过这个针管打到我们的这个肌肉组织里。那这个小的脂肪粒呢，就会进入到我们的细胞。那一般就是这个肌肉细胞了，就是你打针的地方。那这个小的脂肪粒呢，就会释放出这一段这个信使 RNA。那这个信使 RNA 呢，被我们的这个细胞里边，不在细胞核了，这个不是在细胞核里边，这个在细胞质里边，被我们在细胞质里边的这个我忘了中文那个 ribosome 叫什么了，核糖体，应该是叫核糖体来然后呢被核糖体抓住以后呢，就会产生这个棘蛋白。那个棘蛋白然后就被细胞呢，然后表现在它的这个外边，然后被我们的这个免疫系统来识别。那我们的免疫系统有两种，一种是抗体识别，一种是那个细胞识别。那两种呢都会对这个棘蛋白产生出免疫作用。那这个呢就是这两个被批准的mRNA 或信使 RNA 做成的这个疫苗的这个机制。So messenger RNA or RNA-based vaccine has been vigorously tested based on the 2 clinical trials that led to the FDA approval. Although the safety data is only generated based on the 2 months of a follow-up. So we should have more data in this regard. But so far, the safety has been better than I anticipated. We do have some other issues that we need to talk about, such as anaphylaxis at the later slides. And although mRNA technology is new, but is not unknown, and this has been studied for over a decade. Some of you may heard from this my previous talk. So this actually technology was introduced and progressed after SARS virus back in 2003, 2004 in China. It was only because SARS virus at that time disappeared rather fast. So this mRNA-based virus development for SARS was never being progressed. An mRNA vaccine, like I showed in the slides earlier, is not a live virus. It only contains a genetic sequence that encodes a protein. So it does not cause actual COVID disease in vaccinated person. And also show the graph that mRNA sequence does not get to the nucleus of the cells. All the actions happen in the cytoplasm. 那这个是一些基本的概念关于这个 mRNA 的这个 mRNA 信使 RNA 的这个信息。那这个两个疫苗呢，都经过了这个非常严格的科学审查。在现在来讲呢，是被认为是安全的，但这个呢需要更长时间的来判定。在这个他们这个文章还有这个数据发表的时候呢，基本上是2个月的这个时间来观察这个安全性。这个长期的安全性还有待考察，但是总体来讲，它的安全性已经比我最早的时候想的要好很多。那这个 mRNA 的这个技术呢比较新，但也不是大家不知道，已经超过10年，快将近15年的历史。这个在当时2003、2004年中国那个 SARS 的时候呢，以后呢就有这样的研究，只是当时那个 SARS 已经被没有再进一步的那个恶化，所以这个他当时生产这个疫苗的计划呢就搁浅。而这个 mRNA 这个疫苗呢，就像我前一张图表示的，它不是一个真正的这个意义上的这个病毒， 它仅仅是病毒的这个一个片段，是基因的一个片段 ，RNA 的一个片段来表达这个蛋白的，所以它不会让你这个接受者呢产生真正意义上的这个病毒感染，导致这个疾病，还有上一个的图呢，这个 mRNA 这个片段呢，这个基因片段呢，还有这个怎么样把它来表达成一个蛋白呢，都是在这个细胞质里边发生的，这个是不进到这个我们的细胞的细胞核里边的，不会来影响我们的这个从这个生物和生化来讲的这个意义，跟我们的人体细胞核里的 DNA 没有关系。So this is the efficacy data from the Pfizer or BioNTech Pfizer's vaccine that led to the approval. So this graph demonstrated on the x-axis is the days after the dose. This is a placebo-controlled trial. So one arm received the vaccine 2 doses apart, 2 doses 21 days apart, and one arm was given a placebo only. And each arm contains more than 21,000 volunteer. And on the y-axis is the cumulative incidence of COVID, symptomatic COVID infection. So they don't track the asymptomatic carrier. So this is only the symptomatic. Actually, patient ended up getting symptoms and was found having a virus infection. So you can see the red curve represents the volunteer who got vaccine, and the blue dots represents the placebo arm. You can see there's a significant difference regarding preventing symptomatic COVID infection. In fact, based on the calculation, is 95% protective. And protection happens early on, as early as a week or 10 days after first dose. However, the full efficacy against the disease happens about 7 days after dose number 2. 那这个呢，就是那个BioNTech 和那个辉瑞的疫苗的这个效果展示。大家都知道，他们这个疫苗是1个星期前，星期5还是星期6被美国的药监局批准的。那大家看这个 X 轴呢，就是打疫苗以后或者打这个安慰剂以后的天数，那个 Y 呢是整个得这个以后得这个新冠的这个比例。那大家看这个红线就是打疫苗的这个组和这个蓝线这个区别是相当大的。具体的数据呢，大家可以看到这里。那个安慰剂呢，大概总共包括一般的感染和严重的感染171例。那这个真正的这个疫苗组呢，仅仅只有9例，包括只有一名这个患者呢，真正是有意义的严重感染。严重感染就是你需要吸氧呀，有可能需要气管插管这样的。那根据这个数学计算呢，那这个疫苗是95%有效。这个有效呢，而且发生的很早。在打第1针以后的7天到10天之后，你会看到它已经产生了效果，这个曲线已经开始拉平。但是真正意义上的这种完全有效，就是最大有效呢，是出现在第2针的1个礼拜以后才会出现。And this is a table for the safety, which I have other slides to talk more about anaphylaxis. Mostly, this part is the vaccine, and this part is a placebo. So we only look at severe and life-threatening side effects from either vaccine versus placebo. They're actually mostly the same. If you look at either total cases or percentages, very, very little difference between the two groups. And the death is also very similar. In fact, the vaccine group had 2 less deaths than the placebo. And all 6 deaths were not considered related to either placebo or the vaccine. Some of the examples were heart attack and etc. 那这张表呢，主要就是看这个辉瑞和 BioNTech 辉瑞的这个疫苗的这个安全性那左边呢这个是疫苗，那这个右边是这个安慰剂。那大家主要看这个严重的和这个有可能导致生命危险的这种副作用呢，这两组呢基本差不多，不只是数量，而且是百分比都基本是相似的。疫苗组呢有两位这个志愿者死亡，那这个安慰剂组呢有4位志愿者死亡。这个总共这6例死亡都是跟这个打的这个疫苗或者是安慰剂没有关系比如说就是被认为是没有关系，比如说心肌梗死或者其他的原因。所以根据这个表来看呢，这个疫苗对于这种严重或者是有可能致死的这种副反应呢还是很小的。So since we're going to talk about the anaphylaxis that we're hearing almost every day, I want to list the ingredients of those two vaccines. I didn't really lay out the data on Moderna vaccine, which is almost about the same as Pfizer, which I have a table I compare at the later slides. So mostly it contains messenger RNA, same as Moderna's compared to Pfizer. They have lipids, the proprietary lipids composition that basically form that little lipid nanoparticle droplet. And many other ingredients are just buffer solutions, which we often see in other medicinal use. There's not much of a surprise. I do want to list polyethylene glycol is not listed in the main ingredients, but it is used in manufacturing both vaccines. So this polyethylene glycol is almost like a protectant to stabilize the nanoparticle. It basically stays outside the nanoparticle and stabilize it. It's used for both vaccines. 那这个呢，我想给大家分享一下这两个mRNA 疫苗的这个成分。那左边呢这个是辉瑞的，右边是 Moderna。大家看，基本上那个主要成分这个就是里边包含的这个信使 RNA、mRNA。那其他呢就是它这个磷脂或者是脂肪，就是这个运用这个纳米科技做成的这个脂肪的这个小球。那它们这两个呢都是不一样的，用来不一样的这个磷脂或者脂肪。其他的一些成分呢，就是我们经常常见的，在药品里常见的一些用来稳定药物的一些这种药物的一些这种成分并不是很奇怪没有见过的东西。最后我想说的是呢，这个另外一个成分呢，就是现在大家沸沸扬扬在谈的这个中文应该叫聚乙二醇吧 ，polyethylene glycol PEG。PEG 呢，其实在医药里边呢用的很多。那最普通的就是你在药店你便秘你要去泻药呢，这个是最常见的一种泻药。那在这种医疗用途呢，其中其他的还有就是用来稳定这个你的这个药物，比如说在这两个疫苗呢，这个小脂肪球的这个外层呢，就会有一些这个成分，它就用来这个稳定这个小脂肪球的这个作用。So to talk more about safety, I think this understanding of safety is extremely important because we really don't have any efficacy concern. The efficacy is fantastic, much better than everybody ever imagined. It's probably the most successful vaccine regarding the efficacy. But safety is a very important aspect. It really affects how general public its take on whether they want to step forward to get vaccinated. So pretty much the safety is all immune based. So including the local effect, mostly happens right after injection and lasts for a couple of days, both namely pain of the injection site. It can happen after first dose and happen on the second dose. It's very common and it's similar to many other vaccines we get. And then we talk about systemic effects. So also is the immune mediated. So participants on the trial could have fever, fatigue, and headache. They're definitely more in vaccine group than the placebo group, but you can recall that severe or life-threatening systemic effects are very similar and a very small possibility on both arms. And often the systemic effects, the second dose is much more common than the first dose. The first dose is really giving, the dose is the common norm will be priming your immune system, and the second dose is almost considered a booster shot. And often the second dose generates more systemic immune-mediated side effects than the first dose. And a younger individual have more symptoms than an older individual, postulated from just because younger patients have a much somewhat stronger immune system, therefore generates more immune-mediated reaction. And most of you know, since the Pfizer vaccine was approved about 9-10 days ago, there have been reports on individuals who developed severe anaphylaxis or severe allergic reaction, including 2 UK healthcare workers, and now I think 4 US health workers have severe allergy. I have to tell you guys that in the original trial that includes both Pfizer vaccine and Moderna vaccine, there were no anaphylaxis reported. So it's a bit unusual and surprising that we actually have some anaphylaxis. And anaphylaxis was postulated that was because some of the individuals are allergic to the PEG, polyethylene glycol. Although this remained to be determined, we really don't have any solid data suggesting that's the correct compound that those individuals were allergic to. 那这个疫苗的安全性是很重要的那对于这个疫苗的这个作用呢是不容置疑的。我们刚才看到辉瑞的这个疫苗的这个有效性是95%那其实就已经是前所未闻的了。这一般的这个疫苗能够达到95%呢，已经是不可能的。那这个关于这个安全性呢，就是很重要了，因为大家这个普通大众对安全性的考量会直接导致他们对这个做决定要不要这个马上打疫苗有很大的影响那这个主要的这个副作用呢分为2类，一种呢就是局部的副作用，一种呢是全身的副作用。那这个基本上都是由于免疫系统引起的。局部的副作用就是疼痛，打针的地方会疼，2针呢以后都会痛这个没有太大的区别。那跟其他的疫苗是一样的打流感疫苗啊、肺炎疫苗啊，你都会痛一点。那全身的这个症状呢包括发热呀疲惫啊或者是这个头痛一般来讲呢第2针比第1针的这个可能性要更大一些。那第1针呢一般是就给你身体一个刺激，那第2针呢就是就来巩固那一般来讲呢第2针比第1针的这个副作用产生的可能性要更大一些一般的这个年轻人呢比年老人这个产生全身副作用的呢可能性会更大，因为年轻人这个免疫系统比年纪大的人要更加这个强壮一些，那这样产生全身的这种症状就会更明显一些大家要想起来前那个幻灯片呢那这个全身的这个症状呢在那个辉瑞的那个临床试验里是很少见的，就没有这个像这种过敏性休克的这种情况。那大家也听说了，从上个星期就开始听说了，英国有2个医疗人员呢产生了这种休克症状，那美国呢也是大概有3个还是4个了具体这个对于这个过敏源还不是完全确定有一种说法呢就是对这个聚乙二醇的这个过敏，因为聚乙二醇用来包裹这个用来稳定这个脂肪的小球这个还不能确定 但是so based on those anaphylaxis allergy data, although it's very, very rare, we're talking about less than 0.1% of the incidence among all the vaccinated healthcare workers in the first week. They're very rare, but because of the incidence, CDC has issued some guidelines. So for anyone who had severe reaction to the first injection should not get a second dose. That's kind of common sense. People who have a severe allergy to any ingredients in the vaccine should avoid vaccine formulation. And in UK, it's a little bit different. In addition to those two, and they also warned that anyone who has a history of anaphylaxis or severe allergic reaction to medication or food should not be given the vaccine. This is probably an overkill, but even I think eventually this may be lifted, depending on more data that we're going to see in the next couple of months, and also including the Moderna's data. 那这个关于安全性呢，我们再讲一下根据因为这个大概有5到6例的这个严重过敏包括过敏性休克的这个情况，那美国疾病控制中心呢有几个新的这个指示，显而易见的，那你如果第一针呢产生这种过敏性休克，那你就不要在第2针了，或者是你对这个疫苗里边的成分有以往的这种过敏性休克或者严重过敏的这种情况呢，那你也不要打这个疫苗了。那个英国呢就是更加严格一些，那你不管你这个其他这还包括你如果对其他药物或者食物有这种过敏性休克的这种历史或者是严重过敏反应你现在呢也是不推荐打这个疫苗，但我觉得这个有一点太过于谨慎了。估计再过几个月呢，这个可能会修改，因为总体来讲，包括这个4万人的这个临床实验，都没有发现有这种过敏性的例子。当然了，未来几个月我们会有更多关于这方面的这个数据出来。So just to compare those two vaccines, Pfizer's vaccine and Moderna's vaccine. So they're both messenger RNA based vaccine. However, the Pfizer's vaccine contains more doses, more dose actually, 100 microgram as compared to Moderna, only 30 microgram. And Pfizer's vaccine is actually FDA approved to be given anybody who is age over 16. And Moderna's vaccine is actually over 18. Both of them are 2 doses. Pfizer's is 3 weeks apart, and Moderna is 4 weeks apart. And efficacy 95% for Pfizer's vaccine, symptomatic infection, severe disease. For Moderna, I didn't list the data, but it's very similar, 94.1%. So this actually does not, we actually don't know the efficacy regarding preventing the asymptomatic infection. So I would imagine it will be very similar to this, but we don't have that data. So storage, this is you see on the news, Pfizer's vaccine has to be stored at a -90, over -90 Fahrenheit. But for Moderna vaccine, you can just store in a regular refrigerator. -4 Fahrenheit is good enough. And Pfizer's vaccine, you have to use after it's stored within 5 days. And Moderna vaccine, stable for 30 days. You can even leave it in room temperature for 12 hours. And also Pfizer's vaccine is shipped as a bundle. So each shipment contains 900, either 35 or 75 doses. That's how much we got in Ukiah. We got one bundle, which is an entire lot, which is 935 vaccine as of the last Thursday. For the pregnant and lactating women, it was not studied in the trial on both vaccine, but you can still receive it. FDA did not really say you shouldn't get it, and you can talk to your healthcare provider and discuss about it. And regarding anaphylaxis, not reporting the trial for Pfizer's vaccine, but so far we have more than 5 cases, probably 6 cases. We will see what the Moderna's vaccine will tell us regarding the incidence of anaphylaxis. 那这个就是2个疫苗的这个比较，左边这个是辉瑞的疫苗，右边呢是 Moderna， 2个都是这个 RNA 疫苗。那个辉瑞的疫苗呢，里边含 RNA 的成分更多一些，100毫克的 RNA，Moderna 是30个毫克。那个辉瑞的疫苗呢，它是美国呢药监局批准是16岁以上的就可以接种，Moderna 是18岁以上。2个疫苗都是2针。辉瑞呢是隔3个星期打第2针，那个 Moderna 是隔4个星期打第2针。那这个效果呢，大家都已经看到了，那个 Moderna 是辉瑞是95%，包括这个有症状的感染和严重的感染。Moderna 我没有给大家看那个图是94.1%，很接近了。现在还不知道对于这个无症状感染的这个效果是多少，因为这个没有查，也很难查，因为你要那个每个这个参加者都要去每个星期都要去这个鼻子里边去拿这个样本，确实很复杂的一件事情。但我想它的这个效果应该是基本是接近这个值的。这个储存和运输呢，这个有很大的区别。辉瑞呢是必须要储存在-94这个法氏的这个-94度。然后呢，化完以后呢，5天之内要用掉。那个 Moderna 更加方便一些，存在这个普通冰箱就可以了，-4度 Fahrenheit，可以放30天，然后那个即使在放的这个室温也可以这个保持12个小时。那个怀孕的这个妇女或者是这个哺乳的妇女呢，这两个这个疫苗呢都没有包括这个做实验都没有包括这些人群，但是呢，这个美国药监局没有把他们驱除在外，你还可以去打的，但是需要你要跟你的这个家庭医生或者是产科医生呢要谈一下，看看这个考量一下这个副作用啊，还有你对这个疫苗的这个感受，这个严重性过敏性休克，这个两个疫苗呢都在这个真正的临床试验也没有报道。那这个辉瑞呢，我刚才讲了大概5到6例了，现在已经，这个 Moderna 呢，我们下星期就能看到这个疫苗已经运出来了。So other vaccine development. I'm going to fast forward and hopefully we have more time to discuss, including Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, DNA-based vaccine. It's less effective and has actually produced some confusing data, but approval is imminent. It's 2 doses. You take 2 doses, 62% effective. And interestingly, if you only had a first dose at first injection as a half dose, then a full dose of the second injection, it was 90% effective. I don't understand why it's the case, but that's what it was reported. Then you have Russian vaccine called Sputnik, an inactivated virus-based vaccine approved in Russia, 92% effective based on only 20 infected individuals and a 3 weeks follow-up. The trial did include 40,000 participants. Hopefully we have more data on this. Sinopharm, which is one of the 2 inactivated virus-based vaccine in China, and both United Arab Emirates and Bahrain approved this vaccine actually 2 weeks ago. In UAE, the efficacy was 86% preventing severe infection. I'm sorry, symptomatic infection and severe infection based on a trial that included 31,000 people. And Bahrain efficacy was reported 86%. That trial included 7,700 participants. We don't have public data on this vaccine, and we're waiting for the peer-reviewed data. So 那讲一下这个其他的这个疫苗的运作第一个呢就是这个英国牛津大学和这个 AstraZeneca 的这个腺病毒载体的这个疫苗应该是马上也就要批了。它的这个有效性呢，比这个前面讲的2个呢差一点，70%。比较有趣的是呢，你如果 第一针呢是打半剂量，那个第二针呢打全剂量，那就会这个90%有效啊，不知道为什么。俄罗斯的这个俄罗斯这个灭活疫苗呢，也是已经被在本国已经批了92%有效性，但它这个仅仅是基于20个这个病人的这个当然是这个实验是包括了4万人，但是他们只有20个感染者，从这20个感染者呢就得出这个92%，有点为时过早我们在随后再看看它的这个随后的结果。那个中国的2个灭活疫苗呢，其中有一个 Sinopharm 还有中国国药集团的这个灭活疫苗呢，已经在阿联酋和这个巴林批了有效性呢86%左右也是很大的这个规模的临床试验还没有这个真正的这个有意义的这个数据发表，所以我们也是这个拭目以待。So adding this one slides on new strains, Don Master Yung reminded me. Some of you probably watched from the news. There's new strain in UK because of new mutation, but overall mutations are very common for all the viruses. In fact, COVID is less so compared to seasonal influenza regarding the mutation rate. And many mutations have occurred since this virus broke out in Wuhan. And many strains are prevalent. Whatever we have right now in different countries is not the same strain. They're all different from the original one. And this is a particular strain that was reported last week in UK, but this strain was actually first detected in October. It was a mutation on inside of spike proteins receptor binding domain that binds to the receptor in human cells. And it caught researchers' attention because it correlated with significant increase in the rate of infection in the southeast London in England. It is postulated that it is 70% more contagious, but there's no evidence to say or to conclude that this new variant cause higher mortality or somehow react differently to vaccine or treatment. 那金勇士呢，今天给我提示了一下，英国呢有一个新的这个变种，有个变异其实这个病毒变异是很普遍的了。其实这个冠状病毒或者新冠的这个变异的这个程度，其实比其他的病毒要小很多包括这个我们这个每年的这个流感疫苗其实也是对我们这个制作疫苗也是一个好处，因为你变异的越少，那这个疫苗产生然后这个效果就更好。那这个呢就是 VUI 2010-12-1，这个是这个新变异的这个名字这个其实在这个10月份就在这个英国就已经发现了它这个变异呢会产生一个这个氨基酸的这个替代这个氨基酸的替代呢就是在这个脊蛋白上，那个脊蛋白跟那个人体的这个 ACE2 的这个受体的结合处所以这个病毒还是很聪明的从现在看来呢，这个病毒比其他的这个品种呢更加有传染性大概大概多了70%，但是现在还不是很确认这个新变异的这个品种会导致更多的死亡病例，或者是对治疗或者疫苗有不好的这个会有抵抗，现在不好说到现在看来还没有看到这个现象。So how are we going to end the pandemic? This is last slide. So everyone has to be aware that ending the pandemic would require herd immunity. Herd immunity is defined as more than 60% of individual in a population either had a previous infection, creating an immune response, or received the vaccine. So therefore, it's very important that consumers, the general public, have a confidence that the vaccine are safe. The effectiveness is no doubt that we have seen over 94-95% effectiveness. It's good to see that the current poll suggested that more people now are willing to take on the vaccine than 2 months or 4 months ago. If you remember, 4 months ago, the poll said that only a half would take the vaccine. But now I think it's more than 70% of polled participants in one survey stated that they would like to, they are more open to receive vaccine. It's impossible to return to normal life until the herd immunity is achieved. And by delaying to achieve herd immunity, increase the chance of virus mutating to more violent forms. So far, we have had many mutations, but none of the mutations has really caused increase in mortality. It did have some impact on the prevalence or the increase in the capacity or ability to transmit a disease, but so far we haven't seen a disease or virus that cause more mortality. And despite vaccine being approved and available, we still have to practice social distancing and wearing the mask. Remind everybody that even the vaccine is 95% effective, there's still 5% of the individual who still got in the trial still got COVID despite they received the vaccine. So you don't know whether you are going to be protected or not. So those practices should be continued. 那这个是最后一章怎么样那个来制止或终止这个大流行呢？还是得需要群体免疫。在你这个群体里超过60%的人呢，或者是得过这个病产生抗体这个免疫反应，或者是呢通过这个疫苗得到这个免疫保护。那这个大众的这个信心呢，还是需要很强的这个疫苗的安全性来稳定。那你这个疫苗如果不安全，那这个大家呢都会这个产生很多的额外的这个焦虑。那过去2个礼拜我也有一些问题来问我，包括一些很奇怪的问题，大家都问我。这个很好的一个现象呢，看到的就是最近的这个普查呢，有更多的人乐于这个接受这个疫苗，大概有将近70%到71%，这比4个月前我给大家谈的时候呢要好很多，那时候还不到50%。这个你如果没有群体免疫，我们是结束不了这个大流行的。这个越拖得越久呢，对这个整个这个病毒的这个生物结构也会有影响。那你拖得越久，那个病毒呢就会有更长的时间来突变。那我们现在比较幸运，没有任何这个突变呢，真正是增高我们的死亡率。但是这个这传染性呢，确实是有几个突变是导致了这个传染性增高，包括我前一章讲的那个突变。还有呢，就是即使你打了这个疫苗，即使你打了个疫苗，但是你还是要注意到社交安全，还是要注意要戴口罩，因为5%的在这个临床试验里，这个打到疫苗的人还是得了这个新冠以后，所以你也不知道你这到底是属于那95%还是5%。So regarding the Ukiah situation, we received Mendocino County received 935 doses of Pfizer's vaccine last Wednesday, and last Thursday, the first batch of healthcare provider were given based on a priority created by the state. And hopefully, I practice medicine, but I'm not taking care of COVID patients directly. So I'm the second tier. So hopefully next week, the coming week or the week after, I will be the one. It should be my turn, and I can give you guys update how I reacted. 那这个那基本就讲完了。那个是门多西诺县呢，上礼拜3我们收到了935剂这个辉瑞的疫苗，那礼拜4呢就已经有医护人员在打。如果大家看报的话，到现在没有任何不良反应，我也不知道给了多少针了。因为我平时不接触这个新冠病人，我的病人呢，我不在这个急诊或者是重症监护，所以我不是这个第一批。但是希望在下一周或者在下一周，我也会被接种疫苗，然后呢，我可以给大家来个反馈我自己的这个反应。Okay, I'll end here and I'll take any question.
If you have a question, please type in the chat box, or you can raise your hand. 有问题的话，可以打在那个 chat box 里头，或者举手的话，我们可以把你的麦克风打开。So now we have a couple of questions. The first one from Luck. He was asking the UK COVID variants, will that make the vaccine less effective?
I didn't hear clear. Is it the AstraZeneca vaccine less effective, or it's
No, the current, like Pfizer and Moderna?
Can you say the question again?
No, we got a new variant of COVID, right?
Oh, yeah. No, there's no data suggesting that the new variant are going to be resistant to the vaccine. I don't think so, but this will take longer time to confirm.
Okay.
It's too early to tell, but it shouldn't, and based on the healthcare official from UK.
The second question is from Daniel. He asks that he heard that the vaccine has lower effective for Asian compared with Caucasian and Africans. Is that true?
No, it's not. I didn't list the participants, the demographics of the participants. The Pfizer vaccine actually is a Caucasian predominant, but Moderna's vaccine included more ethnicities. And so far, we do not have evidence that ethnicity is a deciding factor regarding the efficacy of the vaccine.
这个你用中文讲一下。
So 那第一个问题呢是 Lock 的问题，他就讲这个英国的这个新的这个突变的疫苗，那你这个疫苗会这个突变的这个病毒会对这个疫苗产生抵抗性吗？现在这个英国的这个卫生部的这些专家呢，推断不会，但是没有具体的数据来证实。我自己的感觉是应该不会。那第二个问题呢是 Daniel 问的问题，就是那亚洲人群或者其他的人群是不是对疫苗的这个有效性是不是比其他的这个族群呢要小一些，或者是没有那么好？那这个也不是确实的。这个 Pfizer 辉瑞的这个疫苗呢，确实是这个白种人的 predominant。那这个 Moderna 的这个疫苗呢，就包括了更多的族裔。现在总体来讲，这个各个族裔，不管你是男女老幼、不同肤色，都有足够的保护性。它的那个 95% 那个是一个 average，它并不是一个族群。
Monica asks how long the immunity will last.
That's a great question. I actually have one slide about that, and I deleted it. We do not know. It's really hard to know because it's really hard to monitor it. Because if you remember, our immune system is comprised of two immune defense mechanisms. One is antibody-based, one is cell-mediated. So you could check the antibody level, but drop the antibody level does not mean that you are not going to be protected by vaccine in the future. So I think it's going to be depending on many factors in the next 6 to 12 months regarding individual who have received vaccine and their incidence of the infection. So if you see, I think what's going to happen is if you see more infections happening in those populations probably are reminded, or everybody should be reminded to get a booster shot. That's what I anticipate, or at least I would imagine that's the trend. Monica 的这个问题呢，是其实一个很重要的问题。这个免疫的有效性能够持续多久？那现在这个不知道，真是不知道，也没有一个很有效的方法来测定它。你可以测这个抗体的浓度，但是抗体的浓度呢，仅仅是我们免疫系统的一部分。我们的免疫系统包括 抗体，也包括这个细胞免疫。你的抗体下降了，并不代表你的身体对这个病毒没有免疫性。所以我认为将来这个怎么样决定呢？就是看你这个打过疫苗的这个人群，它到底是在多久会有这个得到这个新冠的这个概率或者是个数，这样的话可能会考虑打一个那个加强针，这个 booster shot 就是这样的。
Okay. Alan asks how many Moderna vaccines will be sent to Hughes County.
Alan asked, I actually don't know this, Alan. I think we're gonna know about it from the public health on Monday or Tuesday. But I would imagine that it's going to be more than Pfizer's. And the Pfizer vaccine already created some logistic nightmare. There were protests, rationing of the vaccine, and priority who should get it. But we don't know. But we probably will know in the early next week. 那 Alan 的问题是 ，Moderna 的这个疫苗，我们这个Mendocino 这个县会得到多少？这个我不知道，但是下星期二应该会有这个有这个结果。那 Moderna 这个疫苗呢是一批是100剂，所以比那个 Pfizer 要好一些。Pfizer 是一个漏的就是935个，所以对于这个小的地方呢，其实很不好的，因为你有些小的地方，你不可能有那么多的没有那么强大的这个后勤，来有那么一个这个 -94 的这个冰柜来储存它。
What I read on the paper is only 400 doses, though, from Moderna. It is the first batch. We'll receive only 400. I was very surprised to see that. And
to Mendocino County?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't know. That's probably could be true. So it's really based on the population based. So each state gets a pool, and based on your county's population, then you get how much. But I would imagine the production will be continuing. And what I just read from the I forgot who gave the statement that by next June, every American would have a vaccine.
I think Dr. Fauci said even earlier, April. It was last week he said.
This is from I think from CDC. By next June, that everybody will have a vaccine. And the second tier, first tier is essential workers. Actually, the second tier will be, I just read it includes some essential workers and also the individual who is over 65 or younger than 65 but that has high risk conditions such as cancer or smoking and diabetes, etc. I think including teachers or daycare providers are also listed as a second tier.
Okay, Monica asks another question. COVID is not seasonal, so it's not like flu, difficult to determine when to get vaccine again?
Correct. It's not a seasonal because it simultaneously happens to both hemisphere. Yes, it is very difficult to determine when, and that is a scientific question that we have to have a very strong leadership on that to decide. 那 Monica 的问题也是一个很重要的，就是你这个新冠病毒呢不是一个季节性的病毒，像流感一样，就新冠病毒呢南北半球同时都在运行，所以跟那流感疫苗不太一样。什么时候再打下一针呢？这是很难决定的。那这个需要一个很强的这个领导的CDC 啊，还有这个FDA 啊，一个很强的一个领导真正的有这个很强的这个 leadership 才能够决定，我觉得，还有很强的这种科研来决定到底什么时候再打这个 booster， 再打这个巩固针。
Daniel asks another question. Is CDTB going to have a resident group vaccine at here, right, in CDTB?
I think it remains to be seen, just because Pfizer's vaccine now have anaphylaxis concern. In fact, now I think you have to get a vaccine near where there is a resuscitation facility, so you cannot just go to somewhere to get it. But I know the CVS and Walgreens now going to the nursing home to give vaccines to nursing home residents who are first tier priority recipients. Regarding the CTTB, I think Moderna vaccine is probably going to be something. I'm hoping that eventually the vaccine will be available, that we can bring some vaccine or arrange somebody to go inside and start vaccinating CTTB residents. It's probably reasonable now to start a sheet on who are willing to receive the vaccine, because like I said, in the next couple of months, the vaccine will be available to some of the residents, high risk, for example, residents in the 福居楼啊，还有一些其他some elders。这个问题呢 ，Monica 的第二个问题是，那 CTTB 是
Daniel
Daniel 的问题是那个 CTTB 什么时候会有这个疫苗？怎么样来考虑这个问题？现在还太早，因为现在这个 Pfizer 的这个疫苗呢，必须是要在一个这个有监护情况下的地方才能打，因为有可能会有这个免疫反应，虽然很小，但是它很小心啊，所以你不可能在一个普通的地方，没有这种什么除颤器啊，当然我们 CTTB 是有除颤器的 defibrillator， 或者其他的一些药物啊，像这个肾上腺素 epinephrine， 那我想以后可能是不是这个 Moderna 的疫苗更加可能，如果它没有这种过敏性的这个考虑，希望那个疫苗，而且它比较好运输，能够这个拿到这个 CTTB 里边给大家来这个打。那首先接种的应该是那些年纪大一些的、比较大的，65岁以上的，或者是有这种高风险的这种慢性疾病的。
I read today actually they are going to give people who are over 75 years old first.
Oh, I probably misspoke. Yeah, 75 years old. Correct. Yeah.
They decided to.
I think it just declared today.
Yeah, right. They have a committee. So I think teachers will also receive the vaccine earlier than
teachers are second tier. Teachers is actually the same tier as over 75 years old or less than 75-year-old, but with high risk conditions.
I mean, if I remember correctly, those patients who develop severe allergy in US, 3 of them is in Alaska. Was that the case?
Correct. Yes.
And why is that? It's kind of strange. In this time, Alaska, is it because the weather there?
I don't know. I have no idea.
If it's localized, then we don't need to worry about it. Right?
It's yes, it is localized. So we just think we shouldn't move to Alaska. If you're in Alaska, you are high risk developing anaphylaxis reaction.
People have any other questions? 有没有其他问题？ Now we'll thanks Dr. Wang to give us such a detailed, informative talk. We learned a lot from you today. 如果大家没有其他问题的话，我们就在这场就结束。感谢王医师给我们做这个详尽的报告。下面我有要报告一下下礼拜的演讲。So I'm going to inform everyone that next week. Next week we will start the Amita session here at CTTB, and Reverend Fisher has kindly agreed to give 3 lectures in the week. 下礼拜天开始，在温哥城这边会打佛七。施法师已经同意要替我们做3场演讲， 就是在进度法门方面。So regularly this is a Sunday this time. It's a Sunday evening, and this will be the first talk in the series, Visualize the Pure Land. 那3场演讲，第一场呢，就是在第一场是在礼拜天晚上。礼拜天晚上的话，就是同一个时间，他讲这个，他主要是要讲心愿行，第一个就是心。第二场是在礼拜3晚上同样的时间，讲的是愿。So the second lecture will be on Wednesday, same time, 8 o'clock, and it's going to talk about the resolve. Usually we say vow. The last one is a Saturday evening lecture. This is a regular lecture time every Saturday. It's earlier than 7:30. Usually this is his lecture on the Avatar Sutra, but he's going to combine this practice with his regular lecture. 第3场是在礼拜6的傍晚，这个提早半个小时，因为礼拜6晚上这是他每个礼拜在讲这个华严经，然后这次他会特别把这个华严经的主题和这个净土的3资粮的主题合在一起，所以就他讲了修行这个三个。And the links will be the same for the first one and the second one, just like this one, what we have. 那这个连结呢，和第一场和第2场和我们现在用的是一样的。那第三场会是不一样。第3场会一般你要用中文华语翻译的话，用这个 link 在这边连接在这边。And the Saturday lecture, this will be the regular lecture. So those who attend this lecture, you go to YouTube. And for those who need Chinese translation, we'll use this link. 那这个是同步的翻译，就是最后一场是同步翻译，另外2场它都是实法师他讲英语，然后讲华语这样子，来一起。就是都是他一个人，是最后一场才是有同步的翻译。So then it's dedicated Mary then. And then can you lead us to dedicate Mary?
OK， 感恩法师。May the Mary from this practice adorn all the Buddha's lands, repay the kindness from above, and rescue those in paths below. May all who see or hear all this resolve upon awakening, and when this body meets its end, be born together in the land of bliss.
See headphones. In respect to the Venerable Master, Venerable